Hey folks, welcome back to the Leeds View podcast for this week's show, joined by Gerry McNamee, Paul Brooker, myself, Gerry Lynch in the show. If you're listening on the audio platforms, if you could give us a rating and stick a comment down below as well. And if you're watching on YouTube, hello, good evening and welcome to the show. We've got a bit of stuff to get stuck into. It's possibly not been a very busy week for Leeds United in terms of news, but it has been a busy week in terms of conversational topics around Daniel Farke's future, the football club, and also there's some football to talk about as well. And as always, before we get into it, we always support our football club no matter what is said on a podcast. These are just talking points, but we will support the lads on Wednesday night and the weekend no matter what happens. We're absolutely behind that side. But we'll start off tonight. We'll just check in with the boys. Paul, how are you, mate? How was the weekend?
Yeah, fine. Really, really good. I've learnt what viral means this weekend, which has been interesting.
You've gone viral, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah, my tweet that I put out has gotten gained a lot of traction. People have picked it up, so that's been good fun. My phone was red hot on Sunday evening. I didn't know what to do with myself.
Charger, mate.
It was. Everything was on fire. Is probably the right way of saying it, but. No, weekend, fine. Happy after the City game because of what I saw in the second half. Quick turnaround for Chelsea. It was interesting watching the Chelsea versus Arsenal game and seeing how that went out, and a couple of obviously interesting things. Caicedo, hope I've got that right. I cannot get that name right. That tackle that he put in was disgusting.
What was he doing?
I don't know. It was shocking to say the least. They've had to play quite a large proportion of that game with 10 men. So does that benefit us at all going into Wednesday's game? We'll obviously chat about that. But generally speaking, all good, mate.
Yeah. There's Santos that will likely come in to replace Caicedo, and they got Cole Palmer back as well. So one goes out and two more magically reappear to replace in the Chelsea way. Gerry, how are you, mate? How was your weekend?
Not so bad. I've just come back from Costco. Oh, never been to Costco. I don't think they have it in Ireland.
Big American chain, isn't it?
Yeah, spent a fortune. It's cash and carry. Yeah, lots of booze and stuff we didn't need. But anyway, I've got a big pack of everything. So yeah, a great weekend. Yeah, wet, miserable Manchester. Parked in when I walked where I parked my walk to the ground. I thought I was going to be mugged any minute. Rubbish strewn street through a park that was very dodgy. Inside the ground, top team in the world, and the stadium is like a library. It is dreadful. The atmosphere. Oh, good job with Leeds fans were there. It was otherwise it's dreadful. The halftime they showed a clip of their Chinese fans cheering the goal, and I just this is Premier League. I'm not sure I like it, but yeah, great second half performance. 3-5-2. We should have thought of that, shouldn't we? Yes,
imagine.
Yeah, make changes at halftime. Did we mention? Of course we did. Yeah, it was a great second half performance, but. The end of the day, we didn't get the points, but it was encouraging. And when a goal goes in the 50th second, you think, oh dear. So pleasantly surprised, and got to back it up now. That's the thing. And tomorrow's team selection will be interesting and all that. But yeah, I'm good. And I was glad to go to Manchester. It took me ages. Traffic roadblocks, dingy industrial units. I was glad to see the back of it and get home. Yeah.
It's never been nice when I've gone to Manchester. It's always been miserable. It's not my favorite city in the world either.
Plastic. Yeah, everything's plastic. DJs and
even their fans.
Flags and all that bollocks. Yeah, they don't like that. Drums.
They don't watch this, Paul. We're okay. We're not in there. We're not in their sphere. There's only about 10 of them that watch podcasts anyway.
What got me was the annoyance of from the City fans of Leeds fans being in. Either in the corporate section or just being able to get tickets.
Everywhere.
They were
everywhere.
But do you know what? Do you know what a lot of Leeds fans do, or a lot of them do, is they buy the membership because it's only like 35 quid, and then to get a ticket's like 40 quid. So it's costing them 70 quid to go to the game. Yeah, so that we're Leeds. We will always find a way. Always find a way.
My lad was in corporate, and some guy told him, "Why are you looking at your phone?" And he got a bit annoyed with him. So. But he was only looking at the scores.
Because I'm in the Etihad, and that's what you boys do, isn't it?
Yeah, in the empty ad, yeah.
Yes. There was a really interesting video went around of the home part, or whatever their ultra versions are. I don't think they have an ultra section, but whatever that's supposed to look like. And when Leeds scored, it was about 16 people in different random seats, all jumped up and celebrated. There wasn't a word. No one said anything to them. They just sat back down and watched the rest of the match. I remember trying to watch Leeds against Reading, and I was sitting in the Reading end. because I got free tickets from work and I was sitting in the Reading fans. And I didn't move when Leeds scored, and we battered them that day. And sat down, head down, because there was a lot of noise around me. So I just kept my head down and stay quiet. But the fact that you can celebrate in the home end at Man City and not have anyone say a word to you is a problem for them in its own. But it's their problem. Look, fingers crossed, they've got 115 more problems coming at some point down the road, and we'll talk about that no doubt when we get to it. But we have our own problems and our own numbers to talk about, and we may as well get it stuck into it. Gerry, you mentioned it. Let's talk about it. 3-5-2 finally. We saw it. We saw proactive substitutions made on half-time, and we saw Pep Guardiola have to make a tactical change that's made Paul Brooker quite famous now on the Twitterverse. But it made a huge difference. Leeds looked a million times more comfortable. They looked more in control. There was more aggression. There was more heart. We didn't expect a win. Probably didn't even expect a draw. Probably we're looking at keeping the score down at a best-case scenario. But what we did want to see was heart, fight, and battle. Daniel Farke changed his entire left-hand side. We conceded in 58 seconds on the left-hand side, so it's not the players. But we did see the tactical shift, and we did see a massive impact, and only for a very smart jump by Gvardiol at the very end, we could have come out there with a point. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, when I saw the team, I thought, he's dropped Brendy. Goodmanson, well, we've been talking about Goodmanson. A few goals came down that left. Not necessarily totally his fault, but Justin probably deserved a chance. And we Dan James and Willie Nunn to win. So, but you say 58 seconds, whatever it was, and you thought, I mean, we were talking about it beforehand. We were thinking 3-4-0, get out of here, just get it done. And when that goes in, you think, no. And but we battled, and then the second was in 24, and you think, this is it. This, they're going to get a third. But we a few block shots, a great save from the keeper. Have to give him his due. I think for the second goal, he tried to punch a player's head rather than the ball, but it was a scruffy old goal. But I think what I heard was the word I heard a few times about our first half run. I think I heard on Radio 5 was passive.
Yeah.
I think, excuse me, Dan James and Willie Nonto was defending more than anything, and he wasn't really there for the first goal. Long ball to Dan James, but he was trying. But the only shot we had was one that was blazed over by Nemecha. And then I saw Bijal warming up for the second half, and I thought, hang on a second, he was shut off. And then I saw Calvert-Lewin, and I said to the guys, this could be 3-5-2. And we've seen the changes he made. I mean, there was no reflection on Willie and Dan James. I thought, but it changed the game totally, and we went for them. Straight away we get the goal and then the penalty, and they didn't have major shots in the second half. If Haaland had played, it might have been different. Oh, he did he? I didn't see it. I was afraid to jinx it because you know what he can do. But as you say, Foden, he's a class player. Foden, you have to give. But look at the bench. Look at everything else. I hope the keeper's okay. I mean, I thought he could have been killed with that injury. Terrible. I hope he's okay. And all the players rushing over to tell Pep, I think he's injured. Should we start him? Should we get out there and help him? Absolutely shocking. Cheats all over the place. Crap fans, crap ground, and we're better than that. I don't ever want to be owned by a country because it's no fun. It's no fun. You end up with half and half Scarf City. And there's loads of it around, loads of it. And it was a pleasure to be standing beside the one bloke who was off his head singing the same chant the whole way through on his own, and he fell over. But that's proper football fans, isn't it? So yeah, it was pleasantly surprising. But as I said at the outset, we lost, and we didn't get the points. But moral victory maybe, and what we can build on, and see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll have to. Paul, Gerry's held back there and hasn't told us exactly how he felt about the visit that he had. What were your thoughts on the weekend's action, and where do you sit on this 3-5-2?
I said to you when the lineup came out, I thought, is he going 3-5-2? Because it looks like from the start he was, but then he went 4-3-3, and I just thought it's just I understand he's wedded to this system, or he was. To try and play football, and that's not what you do against City. That's not the way to play against City if you don't have the players to fit into that system. Obviously, the ball comes in, the goal comes in straight down the left-hand side that he changed, and you're just thinking, yeah, we're in for an absolutely solid one. We come back into it a little bit. The second goal, I mean, the lino obviously needs his eyes testing because Foden's offside. Regardless of how you look at it, he's offside in the build up to that, and then obviously You've got Bernardo Silva, who is again leaning in on our keeper, pushing our keeper as it's taken. I'm not sure how it's not called a foul, which is what obstructs him for when he goes to do the punch on the ball, and he can't reach it properly because of that. He's held back a little bit. We get to the end of the second half. We get to the end of the first half. We think we're lucky not to be way down here. And then, same as Gerry, I'm just scrolling through Twitter and I just see that Biol's doing quite a considerate warm up, and I'm like, right, which one of them is injured? Who's injured?
Yeah.
Turns out it was Dan James that was injured. So this Hail Mary maneuver that seems to have happened has been sparked by pretty much probably by an injury. So I think whether or not, had that injury actually happened, whether or not that change would have come in. But obviously the change is made, and immediately there's a massive difference. Already we're more solid in the back. We've got our, the wing backs up. Oh, by the way, can we just praise to Bogle, who absolutely pocketed Doku throughout that game,
and Stroke for absolutely pocketing Haaland.
Yeah,
brilliant.
And Biol did exactly the same thing as well. But I've yet to see Bogle look out of place in the Premier League. So I just want to get that one out there.
Yeah, been great.
Tanaka coming into the sort of being the more advanced of our midfield three, looked good, looked solid. He's classy. Is Tanaka? I don't care what anybody says. He's very, very classy. And then for me, Calvert-Lewin changes the game completely for us. Immediately we've got that link there. Immediately there's somebody that can play off of Nemecha. We know Calvert-Lewin likes to come a little bit deeper at times, so he can rest that ball through. And look what happens. Scores the goal. Yeah, he got a little bit lucky, but you've got to be in it to win it. And he's there to get the penalty. And Nemecha misses a penalty, but scores the goal. And that's 4 goals for Nemecha now this season.
Yeah.
That's 4 for Nemecha this season. 3 for Calvert-Lewin. In 4 starts. I rate Nemecha. I think there's a proper player in there. Oh yeah, 100%. And yeah, bar a silly little jump at the end of the game, and we concede in the 91st minute. My big issue in the game was the blatant cheating of the technical staff of Man City, telling Diaz to tell Donnarumma to sit on his backside and pretend to be injured. Because we all know the keeper can't come off. So because of that then gives Pep 2 minutes to have a nice little conversation with everybody. Admittedly, they were still 2-1 down at the time, so we hadn't scored the equaliser yet. So you can ask whether or not it worked. But at the end of the day, it's gamesmanship, cheating. I don't like it. I wouldn't like it if it was our team. Genuinely wouldn't like it if it was our team and it happened. But overall, same as Gerry, I think there is a massive amount to be taken from that. In terms of what a 3-5-2 actually does. It's something that we've said it would work and we've been proved right. We're not oracles. It's just a case of looking at what you've got available to you as a squad and what would suit that squad the best. And for me, it was that 3-5-2 and it's worked. But the disingenuous comments that Farke made at the end of the game with regards to 3-5-2 are slightly...
That worries me for tomorrow night, yeah.
Yeah, it's slightly concerning me for the Chelsea game, but we'll see how that one goes. But we should have. It's funny how we stood here, how we're all sat here now, and we're all kind of going, God, we could have got something out of that game when we thought we were dead and buried by the first half. The second half, hopefully the same with you guys as well. But it gave me confidence.
Yep,
that's the blueprint for us. That is the absolute blueprint for us going forwards. Yeah. It just to wax lyrical about that. There's so much you can do with that 3-5-2. You can, you could take Goodmanson out. You can put Okafor in on there. You could put Dan James. He's not fit, but you could put Dan James on the right-hand side for Bogle. You can put Okafor in as the false 9. You could put Pirro in as the false 9. There's just nice options there. Gruev, Tanaka, Ampadu, Stack, Longstaff. It works for everybody in place to our strengths.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Gabby Goodmanson looks like a really strong attacking threat on the left-hand side, a couple of yards up. And as base formation, Farke's talked an awful lot today about base formations. As a base formation, 3-5-2 also can be a 5-3-2, it can be a 5-4-1, it can be a 3-4-3. There's lots of different variables to it. And also, if Daniel Farke does want to bring his every single striker on off the bench, it probably fits that system probably a little bit better, and it probably fits the likes of Joel Piroux as well, which we didn't see at the weekend, but we might see at some point. But yeah, we'll see what he does. I'm going to ask you one question each on this, and I want a single word answer from both of you, and then we're going to move on. We are going to talk about the Guardian article, and we're also going to talk about the Chelsea game. But does Daniel Farke start with a 3 at the back, Paul, tomorrow night?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes, should do. Yeah. Can I just say one thing? We did mention Gruev. Gruev was excellent.
He was really good.
I thought Ampadu was back to something like that, but I thought Gruev, nobody ever mentions Gruev. I thought
he just gets about his job, though, doesn't he?
Yeah. And who knew rotating players? You don't have to play the same 11 every week. Doesn't matter.
No, you don't.
And exactly what you said, Paul. Piroux, I was thinking, yeah, he can fit into that. Just bring him on as the other striker. So yeah, it works. And Brendy, when he comes on late, like a buzzy bee, effective.
Effective.
Still.
And again, Farke talked about efficiency, and that's he has a part to play in that as well. We've got plenty of legs on the bench to bring him on.
Can I just clarify on that question? Do you mean will he do that or should he do that?
No, will he do that?
Will he do it? Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'll ask again then. Will he do it, Paul?
No.
Jerry?
No.
Come on.
Yes, he should.
Yeah.
No, he won't.
Yeah. I think even his most staunch supporters said if he starts a 4 at the back at the weekend on Wednesday night, sack him before kickoff. Which brings us on to our next point. And I do want to point out, we are just discussing the Guardian article. We're not again jumping on Daniel Farke's back. I think he deserves some credit for the system change in the second half, whether it was forced upon him or not. He did it, and it was a very exciting second half. I know my post-match reaction was far more upbeat than I think a lot of them have been the last couple of weeks, which for a defeat probably shouldn't be. But there was, I think as John Wayman put it the other day, sprouts of life in that second half that made you think, well, maybe we can stay in this division if we play a certain way. And that, again, goes back to not being oracles, but just looking at the players you've got and going, what's the best system to fit the players and the style of players that we have? And it's this, and it worked. Will it work against everybody? No, but most systems won't. But will it work against the majority? Probably. So, stick with it, Daniel. If you are watching social media, which I've been told you don't, but if you are, Jesus, start with 3 tomorrow, and you might be here at Christmas. Let's get to when he won't be here at Christmas. The Guardian wrote an article yesterday. Matt Hughes put a piece out. A very well-respected journalist, it must be said, and as has been said, is not one for touting lies or putting feelers out or clickbait stories out in the media. It's come out of the Guardian. It's been leaked from the club. I will say straight off the bat, I don't like this. I don't like stuff being leaked out of the club, and I don't like the way that this has been done. That being said, we'll get to the decisions that need to be made on the back of that. But he's basically put out a piece, and in the piece, he says senior club sources have told him, several senior club sources, that Farke's position is under threat and he has to win the next 2 games or else he will be fired. Now, I think everyone with a brain assumed that that was probably likely the case anyway, and that we'd get to Brentford. A decision could be made before then. I'll get your thoughts on the initial part of this first, lads, and then I want to get into a couple of the quotes that have been brought up and where this kind of falls down for me, because I don't necessarily believe everything that's in this article, but we'll get into that. But as a piece, Gerry, that's gone out and talked about this, what is your initial thoughts on this?
I think these guys are supposed to be, super brilliant businessmen and ruthless and everything else. Seems a bit shifting responsibility a bit, and it's a bit of a, if it has come from senior sources, a bit of a cop out really, saying, so we're trying. If he does this, it'll be okay. If he doesn't, and if he gets 1 point out of 2 and we absolutely get hammered, does that prove anything? I don't know. So that's the difficult thing. It shouldn't be leaks like that. It's a bit sinister. And I suppose if you're Daniel Farke, whether you like his tactics or not, you think he should go or not, I think it's a bit disingenuous to him. I think he should be getting more respect than that. And it's okay that people can speculate, but if somebody said it within the club, but yeah, it doesn't, as you say, it doesn't take brain of Britain to know if we lose these 2 games, he probably is gone. But if he gets 1 point, what does that mean? And are we going to left with the Jesse Morris situation? Should we pull the trigger earlier or not? I think second half performance, if that's backed up tomorrow night, then I think people are more positive and receptive. And as I always say, I hope if Daniel Farke is in charge at the end of the season, we've probably stayed up and we've had a good season. Well, I hope so anyway. that'd be perfect. I think it seems decent enough. But look, as I always said, needs a bit of a hair makeover. But other than that, yeah, he's maybe new jacket. But he's fine. He's fine. Yeah. But I hope he wins the next 2 games and he's here at the end of the season and we do it. But if we have to make a change, these guys are supposed to be, businessmen. We know we write contracts in our sleep. Well, we've seen that, but we write contracts in our sleep, and we build stadiums and everything. Well, be a bit more decisive and do stuff, because they're supposed to do stuff secretly. That was it. You don't hear about it till it's done. Well, just be decisive and show us you're in control and do the right. Just don't be leaking articles. I don't think that's very, very good all around, because it leaves a bit of a smell.
It's a bit of a sour taste because, again, whether you're a Daniel Farke fan or you don't like Daniel Farke, he still got us back to the Premier League. He still settled the ship, Paul, after a very tumultuous time, I suppose you'd say, at the start of the first season back down in the Championship. He did have a calming influence. He has done good stuff at Leeds this season. I think we've been coming from it repeatedly. This is not a personal attack on Daniel Farke. You can't be sentimental in the Premier League. If it's not working, you got to change. You got to stay in the Premier League. And that's ultimately where we're coming at it from. This feels like it's taking all of the blame, of which we again have said on this podcast several times. There is plenty of it to go around. There is the ownership for possibly undervaluing the experience that was needed coming into this, the lack of experience then in making decisions in managing the club, in Robbie Evans and in the Adam Underwood from a recruitment perspective, and then the manager as well. And the players have all got accountability there as well. And it feels, by reading some of these quotes, that they have just turned everything and gone, all of this is Daniel Farke needs, and if he loses these games, he's gone. Personally, if Daniel Farke does go, I think there also needs to be a conversation around the senior management of the club potentially going as well, and bringing in proper people with experience to do the job. It's not all on him, but this article very much makes it look like it is all on him. My personal opinion on this, if you're going to put an ultimatum on somebody, then this is going to happen at some point, regardless of the next 2 games. If you're going to do it, do it. If you're going to sack him, sack him. Do it with respect. Say thanks very much for everything, Daniel. Off you go into the sunset. Appreciate everything you've done. But what were your thoughts on what you've read into this?
I think it's incredibly disrespectful to Daniel Farke, because he's, whether you like it or like his method, because it's not about the person, it's about his methods and the way that he plays football. Whether you like his methods or not, it's that's, like you said, Ger, it's a guy that steadied the ship when we were absolutely floundering all over the place. It's the guy that delivered 90 points one season and 100 points the next season. That's a ridiculous turnaround for a club that was basically spiraling. Setting standards within the team for people to adhere to. It was very much a case of, if you're not going to do what we ask of you, then you're not going to play. If you're not in it to play, then we don't want you here, that kind of thing, and set the stall out straight away, which was good. I think, look, we all know that there are sources within the club that will leak stuff. They leak things to the Mail. It seems that they've moved away from the Mail now and are leaking stuff to the Guardian. Wonder why that is. But I just think that it's one of those situations where you can't come out with stuff like that and not expect people not to read into it, that that you can see what's going on, that you can see what's happening. I find it just terrible. It's really, really annoyed me, actually. It's very much a case of, well, let's look at something this way, force all the blame off of us onto somebody else. And like we've always said, that there is enough blame for the situation, not situation that we're in, but for the position that we're in now, to go around to everybody, the senior management, manager, playing staff. So there's enough blame that should be able to go around to everybody. And that, I just find it a bit slimy, and it just leaves quite a sour taste. And I just think it's incredibly unprofessional. We know that he was lucky. He was probably going to be, that he's not a dead man walking, but we know that if he's not winning games, he's going to go. So it's like, you're telling us something that we already know. This isn't news. I think to release it just before a game is awful, because then what does that say to Farke? What does that say to the team? What does that make everybody think? It's just disrespectful. I don't like it.
It's like politics, isn't it?
Yeah.
Politicians brief and leak all the time, and it's just the whole budget came out on the back of that. But it's it's not good. And if I wouldn't like it if my boss was telling somebody else that I'm not sure he's up to it. We'll give him another couple of days, and if he's not, he's gone. If I was hearing that from somebody else, I'd be a bit miffed. But
it just makes the senior management team at Leeds United look incredibly incompetent in my opinion, because like we've just said, if you're thinking about doing this, or you're planning of doing this, or thinking to yourself, well, he's not really doing what we need him to do, why haven't you just gotten rid of him? Just bite the bullet and do it. Just do it, and make it just It's said in the article that I think that they want to give potentially a new person the January transfer window as well. So it's like, okay, so why is Farke still here then? If you're saying stuff like this, if stuff like this has been leaked already, then you better have somebody in mind, or you better have somebody tied down and ready to go. Otherwise, you're going to look even more stupid than what you do at the moment.
Yeah,
and apparently Brendan Rodgers either.
Yeah, no. We're not used to having bad owners who make bad decisions. We've been spoiled.
It's not far off becoming the Leeds United way at this point, isn't it? We need an owner who's a bit weird. It's me. The way I kind of look at it is, if you've got a board that are questioning the manager's ability, to be decisive, stick or go. Don't mess about in the middle. Just make a decision. If you are not convinced that Daniel Farke is the man to take the club forward, then make the change and give the next guy as much time as possible to assess the squad before January, to get his principles in place, and then to go into January with a list of players that he doesn't want in the club anymore, you can sell, and a list of players he wants to bring in, and be ready to go and have a good long run at the second half of the season. But even with some of the lines that are in this, he has to win the next two games. But what if he wins one? Does that mean he stays in a job? What if he gets a point in both of these games? Because to me, a point against Chelsea and a point against Liverpool, considering where we are, wouldn't be two bad results against two very experienced top sides with very deep squads. One that's spent just shy of £500 million in the summer. So what do you do with this then? So you've given yourself a really short leash here. And if it's the case that he does manage to win one of these, what do? Do you kick the can down the road till November then? Are we in a Jesse Marsh situation then where we'll give him the January transfer window? And then you're recruiting for a manager who clearly you don't fully believe in, but you're going to bring in more players on a wage bill with PSR issues in the background, and then potentially replace him in January with another manager who then doesn't want these players because they don't fit his style of football. So it just seems I'm not genuinely, I read it and I'm calling bullshit on it. And I'm not saying that people haven't leaked it, but I read through it and I went, there's nothing in this that we didn't already assume was the case. There's no revelation in this that people haven't already been speculating about. And ultimately, it just seems a bit silly worded. Not Matt Hughes wording it, but the source is telling him this. He has to win the next two. Well, why is it the next two? Why isn't it Brentford? Why isn't it Palace? Why isn't it Sunderland after that? Why is it these two? And is it a case where we lost the last couple of games? Well, then why didn't you make the decision in the international break? Because clearly you were thinking about it then, and you would have given the manager 2 weeks to at least get his feet in the door, used to the place, his coaching staff in place. And then maybe you looked at these 4 games, which probably weren't winnable anyway, and you can get your principles in place, and then you're ready for the January transfer window, or games that you could pick up points. So you've kicked the can down the road probably too far as it is anyway. And you've probably taken a man that I'm a big believer in. There's a way to go. If you're leaving a club, there's a way to leave a club and still keep the respect of the fans. And it's the same about getting rid of somebody as well. There's a way to do it, and there's a way to not do it. And Daniel Farke, if he wasn't the right man, they should have just said, Daniel, with all due respect, we need to go in a different direction. This isn't working. We appreciate everything you've done for us. Thank you very much. See you later. And we move on. And this way, it's hanging a manager out to dry publicly, dangling a carrot in the air and going, well, if you get this, get this, mate, and you might still have a job. Ultimately, that's going to just leave a sour taste in everyone's mind. And I looked at the press conference today, and the second he sat down, he looked annoyed. Straight away, I looked at him and thought, he doesn't look like he's overly pleased. Now, no one in the press conference asked him any questions about it, which leaves me to believe that the media don't think there's really much extra substance to this than, again, we already knew. But it's, for me, if you're gonna do it, but don't disrespect the guy that's in the job. Now, someone will call us a hypocrite in the comments because we've been talking about Daniel Farke losing his job last week, but we've made our opinions pretty clear on it. Needed a change, make the change, but make the change. Don't drag it out and drag him along for weeks as well and ruin the good work that he did do at the club and taint that. There's no need to do that. You can do this respectfully. It's not an easy decision, but you can do it respectfully. But yeah, we'll it just means now, lads, that there's a much bigger spotlight on tomorrow night, and definitely we'll all be back to how we started this, Paul. We'll be starting tomorrow night looking at the team sheet going, he has to win this game. So what's the lineup going to look like? So on the back of the press conference, what did you take out of where we're coming against Chelsea? It's not going to be an easy game. They're a really good side. They're flying in the league. They did lose to Sunderland at home, it should be pointed out, but they've still had some recently decent results. They drew at Arsenal with 10 players. They're the league leaders by a bit. So what are your thoughts coming into this one?
It's going to be a very, very difficult, tough, hard game without a shadow of a doubt. I think he's got to. I think not that we've got to it's not got to be a containment style of game, but we need to make sure that we're up and at them, Ellen Road, under the lights. That we all know the rivalry with Chelsea. I encourage anybody that hasn't watched it yet, but watch Lewis Dayton's.
Lewis is back.
Yeah, that documentary is fantastic. It's worth watching because it gives you a really, really good insight into it. But make no mistake, it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. They've had 24 hours less than us to get ready. They had to play a long spell with 10 men. But it depends on the team that's going to be going out on the night. We know Cole Palmer's probably going to start because we've been told that he's going to start. Maresca made an interesting comment about 3-5-2 in the press conference. That over 200 times that Farke has played four at the back, and he's only done 3 at the back
once for Leeds, and that was the second half against Man City.
Exactly. So it's going to be interesting to see the lineup. I'm praying to God that he doesn't do 4-3-3 because that'll rattle everybody in the crowd tomorrow night. But for me, the most important thing about tomorrow night is I'm getting to meet the lovely man to the other side of us on Wednesday.
We're going together, are you?
We're going to meet each other in the flesh. Yeah, I'm a hugger, Paul. I'm a hugger when we score.
Mate, you're in love. I am as well. I'm an absolute cuddler. Don't worry about that. Yeah. Listen, I'll look you in the eyes when I do it, mate. I won't make it awkward.
You make it uncomfortable. Yeah, you usually do.
Bit too long.
We get to meet. Good to meet in the flesh. Yeah, we get to meet.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's good.
But it's going to be a hard game. It's going to be tough. But if we can play like we did in the second half against City, then who knows what could happen? Who knows?
Yeah, there's a bit of me, and again, it happens before every game. There's a bit of me goes, man, we'll get something from this. I think we'll get something from this game, and that just always tends to happen. But I don't know. I just feel a little bit more positive. I'll see what the lineup is like tomorrow night, and that'll dictate my mood for the rest of the game. But Gerry, Dan James is out 8 weeks. He has torn a tendon in his hamstring, which is not great for a speed merchant to start getting the amount of hamstring injuries he's getting. Anton Stack is back. He's been cleared to play, which is brilliant news. So he passed his really difficult cognitive test that they make them do in the FA. Well done to him. And Sebastian Bornau is back as well. And Farke said he's in contention to be in the squad. But
yes,
if he goes 3 at the back, he might have a chance of getting on the bench at least. But we'll see. I believe that when I see it as well. But outside that fully fit squad, Farke has downplayed the base formation, as he labelled it, 3 at the back, and he said that he has played it lots of times, including last season, which I think we all know he absolutely hasn't. But what do you think coming into it? Do you see at least the fight and battle that we saw in the second half being carried into this game, especially being at Elm Road?
Yeah, he did play a 3-5-2 once before in a pre-season friendly against Harrogate last season, and we thought, this is good. Never seen it again. Under the lights, all the cliches, under the lights at Elland Road with the crowd. Yes, it'll be barnstorming. If he starts with the team that started the second half on Saturday, I'll be pleased. And I mean, not being defeatist, but if we give it a good go, and even if we lose heroically and getting close, I think it again gives the fans something, because as I said, we always thought we'd come out of this games with nothing. No points. I mean, Chelsea, yes, they played on Sunday, but they can probably put a new team out, can't they? There's such depth in the squad. The same Man City, same with Liverpool. It's fine. So, yeah, we gotta embrace or harness. Yeah, we gotta harness that. I mean, the Newcastle game early in the season. That's the sort of performance we need. Don't let them settle for a bit, and who knows? We can only hope. We were 10-1 on Saturday to win. We'll probably be 6-1 to win this. So I'll have a wee punt on that. One interesting stat that's come out in the last few weeks: the match has scored 3 consecutive goals in defeats. It's only ever happened twice, according to Johnny Cooper.
Johnny Cooper,
Andy Ritchie in the 80s. And Tom Jennings, who I didn't see Tom Jennings play in the 1920s, did it as well. 3 consecutive goals and 3 consecutive defeats. Just thought I'd throw that in. Yeah, we got to go for it. We got to do this for the lads of 1970. Yes, we do. I remember going to Stamford Bridge in the 80s when I lived in London, and I was in the away end, and I cheered like a Chelsea fan. I'm telling you, they were sinister. They were nasty, but they're plastic as well now, so we'll be okay. We're very close to the away fans tomorrow night, Paul. Yeah.
Gerry's really pinning his colours to a mast tonight, isn't he?
I want traditional fans. Forest fans are traditional, some fans are traditional. I love Palace fans. That's a noise. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. I'm hoping, rather than thinking we might. I'm hoping we might. Yeah. I'm just hoping we might. But we got to put all the resources that we've got, best formations, best tactics, best foot forward, and all that.
Yeah, Bernie. A week away from people like Ryan Kent being linked to the return to Leeds United again, so we're not too far away from the transfer conversations. We'll get to them when the news that pop up. Yeah, no Harry Wilson coming to Leeds. Apparently, he's staying put. So, well, that's a shame. Oh dear. Yeah, I won't lose any sleep over that one. But yeah, not a huge amount else to cover, lads. I'll get a score prediction off you for tomorrow night. Gerry, where are you going?
Well, I said 4-0 defeat on Saturday. 1-1. I'll take it. I'll take a 1-1 draw on. I think there'll be a goal. Nice to keep a clean sheet. But if I see Barnow, that'll make me night, because I don't think he exists.
Take a photograph. Make sure you all know it's real. Paul, what about you?
I'm with Gerry. I think we've got a good chance at a 1-1 tomorrow night. I think if we're up and we're at them and we're all over them, bring on the Energizer Bunny that is Brendan Aronson towards the end, then I just think we're on the cusp of a turning point, I think, potentially, with what we saw against Man City, if it's maintained. If it's maintained, then the positivity should remain there. That's got to put great positivity in the lads. I know we lost it, but they all on Instagram and stuff and things like that, there was a positivity in what they were saying, even though we'd lost. So, yeah, I'm going to go for a really, really good battling, singing, maybe dancing, 1-1 draw.
Yeah, 2 good-looking ball guys will be dancing in the West Stand. And people just watch out, because it's you won't see beauty like that in one place.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely.
Paul, make sure you have a fresh cut as well, because Gerry's always on the telly. The camera will find him if he's in a stand. So make sure you're ready to go, right? We'll wrap it up there, folks. Massive thanks always for supporting the channel and watching the content. If you're listening on audio, again, give us a rating, give us a comment over there as well. I'm going for 2-2. Tomorrow, I'm going for Desmond and see how we get on. Hoping for an exciting game. We will likely have another podcast out before the end of the week, to kind of, just because it's 2 games this week, so we'll fill in get a reaction from the lads and preview to the Liverpool game at the weekend as well. You can check that out. All the merch and affiliate links are all down below as well if you want to support the channel. I think Tom Jennings is actually on my jumper here somewhere. I think he may have worn before at one point. This is available in the Back 4 store as well, along with some new merch there. You can check it out. Outside of that, enjoy the rest of your day, evening, or whenever you're watching this. And we will talk to you soon. See you later. Bye.